Hey, welcome to the Forge. Here at Forney Fence, we're all about investing in the long-term relationships to impact the personal, professional, and spiritual lives of everyone we encounter. Here at the Forge, that's what we're doing. We're helping you to be best at life, leadership, business, and all of your personal growth. So every week, we're coming together to share some stories. We're sharing truth. We're looking at things that impact every one of us in order that we would all be better. So, Ralph,
Nick.
today we've had some amazing people the last couple of weeks. We've been able to sit down with Chris Hendershot and Elizabeth, and I think Jeff's going to be next week.
Rex.
We got to sit down with Rex week one and just kind of talk about the foundation,
Right.
the vision of the company. But today we got to get into some nuts and bolts.
Yeah. The
So-
key.
So as you've been traveling, you've been to several of the locations. What are some things that you see, the things that are so important to who we are as a foundation, as a company, and why these things are so important?
Yeah. So this is what I was telling you before this session started is that I've read the book, The Five Dysfunctions of a Team by Lencioni, Paul Polk, and I read that book together years ago, and I've got it in my library at home. And when I picked it up and read it, I thought, okay, this is where we land for a while at Forney Fence. This is where we take this thing deep into the organization. That our message that we're trying to deliver with the Forge. These concepts are where we go granular into our company, and so yeah, it kind of a light came on in my head about that. About let's this is where we need to be. It's a divine a divine spot. I feel like.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
So today we're going to get into this book and we're going to go through these five, Patrick Lencioni calls them the five dysfunctions of the team. We're actually going
Right.
to talk about it on the positive side, the five functions of a healthy team and why these things are so important.
Can we stay on the positive side? I don't.
Well, I think we're going to work to be on the positive side, maybe by addressing some of the negative issues as well, right?
Yeah.
And how those things play
Right.
out. So we're going to show you this graph right here and what it looks like and be able to walk through this pyramid and what's the foundation and what's the peak that we're trying to get to and why these things matter. And so the very first one, and this is kind of the foundation, everything has to build off this. The very first thing is trust, that
Right.
there has to be this foundation of trust if you're going to have a healthy team. So whether it's in Forney Fence or other organizations that you've worked with, why do you think this is so important that this is the foundation?
Oh, well, I spoke about this a little bit when we were talking to Elizabeth, but because hers was on trust,
Yeah.
right? And what does trust mean? But I know what you want. You know what I want. I know what you like. I know what you dislike. You know what I like. You know what I dislike. We are aligned in each other, right?
Yep.
That's why we do DISC profiles, so we can have access to those. It's the fundamental. It's the foundation for everything for the relationship that we're going to have, right? So I was talking to Jeff this morning, Jeff Wright, and he made a comment. He said, really to sum this up, if you are loved well at Forney Fence, then you will love well other places, and that starts with trust.
It's good. Yeah, absolutely.
With your homes and at church and with your friends. So
Yeah, for so many of us, we've been burned way too many times, whether it's in personal relationships, in job situations, with a boss. We're not naturally inclined to trust anymore,
right.
right? And so the first time that it didn't go as well as you thought at 3 or 4 years old, but that even
Right.
at that point that you start going, oh, can I trust? And I think whether it's old bosses, bad cultures, an ex,
Your
Right.
personal lens
yeah, your
that
personal
you look
lens.
that you look at how you look at trust.
Yeah. And so because of that, building trust is so difficult because we're skewed and inclined to not start with trust.
Right. But if I know you well, and you know me well, then that trust gets built because now you see me fighting for you and you
Yeah.
fighting for me because you know what I want, and therefore I trust. Therefore I trust, even when we conflict. And I know that's the next one. We're not going to move to that yet, but that's where this has to start because I trust you. I can conflict with you because I trust you.
Okay. So when I'm thinking about this, I think about like the old, like trust fall, right? That, You know,
Oh, when
they have someone standing
like
in a
at
chair.
camp?
Yeah, at camp or
I
something
never
like that.
trusted those guys
Never,
to ever
right?
hold me.
And so you have one person standing in a chair, and everybody like stands behind them, and they're
Right.
supposed to fall backwards, and we're all supposed to catch them.
Yeah.
And you're going,
I-
not that guy. He's
No.
not going to be back there, right? And just thinking about it, even at a surface kind of very simple level like that,
Mm-hmm.
we have a hard time. But when we start talking about how we build trust, Simon Sinek, he has an incredible author. He has a book called Start With Why. It's an incredible book. His TED Talk, Start With Why, is like number 2 ever on TED Talks, and
Mm-hmm.
absolutely incredible. And he has this thing that he got to interview Navy SEALs and what makes a great SEAL and what do they look for. And what he talks about is performance and trust. And these are the 2 axioms of how good can you perform and how far can I trust you.
Right.
And the way that he describes it is, can I trust you? The performance side is, can I trust you on the battlefield?
Right.
Right? Can I trust that you're able to be competent to do your job? And then trust, he says, is, can I trust you with my wife? And can I trust you with my wallet? Right? And he said, so what they realize is everybody wants a high performer, high trust.
Right.
But we don't always get that. What they realize is over time, the Navy SEALs have said a medium performer with high trust is better than a high performer with low trust.
Yeah. Collectively, we can never go where we both want to go unless we trust each other. We'll always be limited by our own achievement, our own
Sure.
abilities. But when you collectively trust someone and they trust you, you can accomplish great things together, much higher than you would have otherwise. Marriage,
Yeah,
husband
absolutely.
and wives.
You can accomplish a lot
Yep.
more together. And I think that's
Right.
one of the things we're working and striving to do. Even some recent conversations with JB and some sales things, that the goal is not for a branch to win, it's for all of us to win.
Right.
And we're going to get to that as
Yeah.
we move up. All right. So number 2 is conflict.
Mm-hmm.
This conflict. So if you have trust, then you can have conflict. But
Mhm.
we've seen a lot of bad examples of conflict, right? Whether it's in the workplace, YouTube videos, social media, politics, all these things. What does healthy conflict actually mean?
I just spent a week with Jeff sharing a hotel room in San Antonio, so I know what conflict looks like.
Oh, wow. Shots fired there, Jeff.
Dysfunction and conflict. No. What does conflict look like? Well, conflict is inevitable.
Sure.
It's a lot of times tried to be avoided,
Yep.
which it took me a long time in my life to realize in my marriage and with Hannah and with and in business that I was always trying to avoid conflict because all I ever knew in conflict was you fight it out. You literally, verbally and physically fight it out. That's how I kind of grew up. And then but over time, I realized that conflict is going to it's inevitable, and it's also very healthy if it's done right.
If it's done right.
If trust is there, it can be to the best solution
Yeah.
that you're looking for.
For me, one of the things I've struggled with in life is like early in marriage and maybe not just early in marriage, but ongoing in marriage and other relationships, different business relationships. Because of being so competitive growing up,
Right.
I thought the only way to win is for you to lose. And so therefore I had to destroy you in order for me to win, because
Right.
that's the goal.
Yeah.
And so conflict was me beating you, not me and you working together for a better.
Right.
And so Leslie and I've got to speak at some marriage conferences and different things like that. And one of the things we talk to people about is that conflict, you have an enemy and it's not your spouse. You have an enemy, it's not your boss.
Right.
Right? And we need to recognize there is a real enemy that is trying to create conflict and discord and chaos. But what we're talking about here is conflict that is healthy,
Right.
right? And it's built off trust. And so healthy conflict, what I say is it's somewhere between silent and violent,
Yes.
right? It can't be silent.
Yeah.
And it can't be violent. It's going iron sharpens iron.
Yeah.
It's going to take some rough, it's going to have some hard conversations. It's going to be able to go, hey, Ralph, why are we making this decision? Is that the best decision? And pushback.
If I know that you care about me and I know that you value me and you
Mhm.
value my opinion,
Yeah.
we can have conflict.
Yeah.
Because even if the solution is not my own personal preference, I still went through that with you, and I was valued through it. I was listened to through the process, and we collectively came to a conclusion and moved the right direction.
Yeah,
We
absolutely.
made a decision, which is
Yeah.
critical. Making the decision, we got to make the
Yes.
decision. It may not align with my personal preference, but if I know I was valued in the process, then I'm going to be good.
Well, I think the problem with trust is I'm always looking out for me. Problem with conflict is I only want me to win,
Right.
right? And so how do
Yeah.
we build a functions of a healthy team,
Right.
right? And so conflict means that we're going to sit in a meeting, you're going to give your ideas, and you always think your ideas are best.
Yeah.
They don't bring an idea that you think's a bad idea.
Yeah.
Everybody thinks their ideas are
Right.
the best. And then we go, okay, your idea plus this idea, what's the best conclusion?
And if you don't have a personal preference or a position, I don't really need you in the process of making a decision.
Sure.
If you're just going to go along to get along, then
Yeah.
you're taking up air. So I
Well-
need you to engage and have some dissent if it's there. Let's say
Yeah.
it. Say it. Let's get to
Yeah.
the best conclusion. Right.
If you surround yourself with yes men, you've already reached your best.
Yeah.
It's that conflict that
Yeah.
actually pushes us. That's the accountability.
Yeah.
And then we can have this conflict in this meeting and go, let's get to the best solution. Not just yes men, yes, yeah, everybody tell Rex, yes, Rex, you had the only best idea. It's working through that to get to what is the best solution to this problem.
I was reading about a CEO that was really they were at a critical decision they needed to make and they had his leaders in the room, and he opened the room. He opened the discussion up. He said, "I need to hear who doesn't agree with the direction that I'm proposing here," and that he knew that there were people in the room that disagreed with him, and they were silenced, and so he started kicking people out of the room. He said, "Well, I don't need you here because you agree with me. I don't need you here because you." And he was making a point, right? That
Yeah, it's good.
after about 3, one of them's like, "I got something that I want to say," right? And then that's the point, right? You want an environment where everybody feels welcome and be valued in their opinion and you can have dissent.
Yeah. That we can have dissent, we can push back on each other, and then come to the best solution and go, we're all in on this.
Right. We're moving in this direction, and we agree on that we need to move forward
Yeah.
and make the decision. So,
And I think that's what leads us to this next part.
Yeah.
Is commitment. That once we have this trust, we've gone through the conflict, we're trying to get to the best solution, and then going, we're all committed to this solution and committed to one another.
right.
What do you think this looks like for us?
The commitment is, for me and for my experience at Forney, and at the bank in the prior years, is that we vetted this out. Everybody was valued in the process. We had our conflict. There's people not happy about, or not necessarily, that's not their personal preference, but we all agree that the healthiest thing for our company is to make a decision and move forward. That's the objective and that's the goal, and everybody is committed to that.
Yeah.
And so you actually, my experience has been that some of the biggest fans of a decision were the ones that were dissenting, and the ones that had conflict in the process. They can become the biggest fans of the decision to move forward. It's crazy how that works, but when you let somebody value them, and you let them vet that out with you, they'll get behind it.
Yeah. And I think that's one of the things we want to continue to see, that we can have conflict and we're committed to the process. We're committed to one another. We're committed to actually getting the very best, not just okay.
Yeah.
And then we want the very best. And this commitment is, I'm committed to the process. I'm committed to you.
Mm-hmm.
I'm committed to our best.
I'm committed to the decision, to make a decision.
Absolutely.
Nothing's more frustrating than when there's a big decision being made, are trying to be made, and it just keeps getting bogged down by let's think about it. Let's
Oh,
go pray about it. Let's go gather our thoughts and come back. And then you do it again. You come back, and it's the same. You're just what everybody wants. Make the decision and let's go. And
yeah. And I think this is where, when people are not on board, it goes back into your road's trust.
right,
That we've had this meeting, we've gone through the hard things, we've had conflict. It wasn't your way, it wasn't my way, it wasn't anybody else's way. We came to an actual best. But then you go out and you start talking, well,
Yep.
I actually had a better idea and I don't agree with the decision. Well, then you're not committed to us. You're actually committed to yourself and to fracturing
Yeah.
what we're trying to do.
as a leader, that water cooler conversation is not acceptable.
That's right.
It ought to be. It just is. There's no place for it. If you're a leader, you can't have it among your leaders.
Yeah, absolutely. So every month, me and myself, Rex, Jeff Brown, and Noe, we sit down. CEO, CFO, COO. None of them like those titles. I made them have titles because you are leading the organization, and the title says some of your function. They're all too humble for those titles, but
Yeah.
I think they're important. They all come with different perspectives. They all said, "Hey, here's a big decision we're trying to make on new things that are coming up, on employees and staffing issues and expansion issues." Noe's looking at from a perspective of finances.
Yeah.
Jeff's looking from operations and staffing and
Growth.
And Rex has given this vision commitment. Hey, I want to go here. I want to see how we can grow in this area. And we all come together, and I just ask some questions. And then at the end, we're going, okay, is this the right solution? We're going to go down A. If A doesn't work, we're going to go to B. And if B doesn't work, it's probably not the right decision.
Right.
But we're committed to the process, the conflict, the trust. We're committed to the best.
Yeah. And you also know that those men and the other leaders that that get to be invited to the table to be part of that decision, that they're vetting that out to you and to the team, but
Absolutely.
that's all there. It's all out there. It's
Yeah.
not happening different somewhere else.
Yeah.
So
I think it's really good. And so sometimes, listen, there's things that you get rolled out to you, no matter where you are in, on the employee org chart, where you are in the whole organization, and you're going, why did they make this decision? Well, I can promise you, no decision is just shot from the hip.
no.
And there's things that you're not going to understand about the decision. But there's so many layers that got us to that decision.
Well, I wouldn't say no decision. We're talking about Rex.
Well, he's gotten better. He's gotten a lot better at making sure that
He's always got a bullet in his hip that
Sure.
may fire off. So
Yeah.
just
Yeah, absolutely. But that's part of his growth as well.
right.
And
Oh,
he's
yeah.
committed to not
Yeah.
just what's best for Rex and Rex's family.
Yeah.
He's committed to every single employee. The guy who's brand new started this month, he's committed to their future as well.
Yeah.
And I think that's a huge part of this.
Yeah.
All right, let's go to the next one.
All right.
Next one is accountability. So you have this trust that you built upon. And if I trust each other, we can have some conflict. We can iron sharpens iron. We're committed to the process, but then there has to be accountability.
Mm-hmm.
And when there's no clarity, and there can be no accountability.
Right.
So tell me how you see this play out.
Accountability is just when you make a decision and everybody's got their role that they're playing in that decision, right? I'll give you an example. If you just use that example of Noe and Jeff and Rex, and Noe may have concerns about the financing part of it, and the pro forma and how it plays out, and all the assessing all that. But then he goes and he's committed to the decision, and then
That's right.
he gets behind it, and then he has to fulfill that role, and he has to go to the bankers, he has to go to the vendors, he has to go do all the things that he's got to go do to cover that wall, and make that vision known to them.
Yeah.
And so, he's accountable to Rex and Jeff and the rest of all of us that weren't part
Every
of that,
single person.
that weren't
Yeah.
all the way through the organization. We're all counting on him to be accountable in
Yeah.
that process.
Yeah. And, we do these personal clarity statements for this is your position. This is what your job is. And the purpose of those clarity statements is to help you to know where to win. It's not to catch you and
Right.
not to go, oh, you're not doing this.
Right.
It's to go, hey, we want you to know how to win. And therefore, if you're not living up to a standard, if you're not living up to an expectation, we can hold you accountable to going, we believe you can get there.
Yeah.
Every person that's hired on this team, we believe you can fulfill your role. If not, we wouldn't have hired you.
Yeah.
But we want to give you accountability. And, you were joking about Rex kind of shooting from the hip, and he's always got a silver bullet in the gun. But over the last year, he's become more accountable to this process as well.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely.
And I
Yeah.
think that says something about the entire organization when the owner, it's a family owned business,
Yeah.
says, no, I can't make my own decisions. I'm accountable to the entire team. Accountable to our leadership. I'm accountable to every branch manager and
Yeah.
every employee.
The key ingredient to that accountability is transparency and vulnerability, and just acknowledging our weaknesses, right?
Yeah.
To hear one of our leaders say, "Man, I'm not good at that. I'm not good in this space. I need some help. I need some advice. I need some clarity from you guys."
Sure.
That's that transparency and vulnerability is key for accountability.
Yeah.
Because once I know that you're vulnerable and you're transparent, and you admit that you don't have all the answers, then it's really, I know you're accountable. I automatically trust you more.
Sure.
Trust you more in the process to be accountable,
Well,
and that you're going to
more
come to me.
accountability creates more trust,
Right.
which means I can go back and have more conflict. I can be more aggressive and go, no, let's
Yeah.
fight for what's best because I'm accountable to you
Yeah.
and you're accountable to me and we're accountable to this process. And I think accountability is the thing that our world is avoiding the most right now. Not as a company, but just in the world in general. No one wants to be accountable for their actions.
Right.
Hey, I just want to do this actually. I want to hear your opinion. Why do you think people avoid accountability almost at any cost today? So just put it down there in comments. Why do you think people avoid accountability? I'm not saying you. That's not who you are. I'm saying other people. Why do you think people avoid accountability? And I think it's a good thing that we all have to be aware of.
Yeah.
So, all right, let's go to this last one.
Oh,
Last one.
I know there was a last one. Okay.
Last one is results. That's the pinnacle, right?
Yeah.
That we're all trying to get to a certain level of results. What does this mean?
Well, we all have a collective. Let me get my glasses. Collective success, right? Collective success is the word I'm looking for, right? We're for profit. We're also for growing people spiritually, personally, and professionally, right? Those are all objectives those are clear objectives. There's clear objectives in our company about what the results that we want. And then, and so that, that you all, those clear objectives are always at the forefront of everything that we do.
Yeah.
Right. And so it's all built on the trust and on the conflict and on the commitment and the accountability and then the results, so it's the clear objectives, the collective objectives that we have for our company and for us personally.
Yeah, I got to sit down with this guy. He owns a large commercial HVAC company to do big major buildings. And we're sitting down, and he was just talking about his faith, and he was talking about how he leads with faith. And he said, one of the things I always tell people is there is no mission without margin. We can't fulfill our mission if we're never having any margin. If we're not hitting results, something's going to die.
Right.
I think this results is at the pinnacle. It's the smallest thing. I think it naturally comes if the other 4 things are in place.
Yeah, it's effortless, really, because it's got all those other foundations below it that have built up to that.
Yeah. But don't be mistaken. We're about results and
Yeah.
about making things happen. And so we want to work through all this process. And we're going to continue to unpack this more and more
Right.
over the next several weeks. But it's about results. And I think all of our life wants results. What is the win? How do I win?
Mm-hmm.
Give me clarity on how I win. 'Cause
Right.
everybody wants to win.
Right. Yeah. You know what I want and what I like and what I'm trying to accomplish personally.
Mhm.
And that's part of the results objective for the company. And I know what the company needs for us to all to go there.
Yeah.
And so that's where it goes. It goes all the way to every employee at the company, right? They know that if we get the results that we're looking for, then they personally grow.
Yeah.
For their families.
Yeah. And I would say everybody on the team wants to be able to make more money, be able to take care of their family. Maybe they want to promote. They
Mhm.
want the opportunity to continue to grow. And when you allow other people to not be accountable, you're not going to be able to get those results.
Right.
When you allow someone who's stealing from the company and you say nothing, you're complicit
Right.
and you erode the trust, which eventually removes the results that you want for your life.
Right.
And so all these things come together. Are you committed to the team? Are you committed to investing in one another? Are you investing in making sure that we go through this process, that we actually get results that make a difference and impact my life, impact your life, impact our community, and ultimately impact our future?
And then, this starts at the onboarding of
Sure.
a person, right? Because in our company, in the perfect world, when we hire someone, we'd know what their dreams are. They want to own a house. They want to get married. They want to have children. Their wife wants to stay home. Whatever their goals and dreams are, those when you're hiring someone, and then you have realistic expectations back and forth about what if you can accomplish that for them in that role. But you also lay out a plan for them on how to get to a different level in the company, and that all starts organically from the beginning.
Yeah.
And sometimes people leave and go other places and that's not a bad thing because they accomplished what they wanted to accomplish at your company. You were aligned in that, and then they took an opportunity to go advance their families. And then when you have that kind of environment, then it just kind of it goes all towards the results because everybody's aligned on what they have to do for themselves. And
I want you to know that all this is a desire to help you get the results that you want for your life.
right,
We're going through this process. We're investing in you. We're trying to forge long-term relationships on the personal, professional, spiritual lives. And part of the results that we want are for you to be healthy, for your family to be healthy, for you spiritually to be healthy on all these levels. And we want to start with that trust
right,
that we're building something healthy. We're building a healthy team. We're not perfect. No one's claiming that. We're better than we were yesterday.
right,
And we're going to be better tomorrow.
Right.
And we're going to be better the day after that
right.
because we're committed to it.
Yeah.
And we're committed to you. And so just what's your biggest takeaway from this discussion that you see as something that makes Forney Fence different? What's your biggest takeaway from this whole discussion on why and what you're going to do with this discussion? What's your action item on that? I think that's a big part that we all have to own it.
Yep.
Hey, thank you so much for joining us this week on The Forge. This is all about helping you to grow, learn, be better, and take your next step forward. Continue to be a part of this. We'll see you next week.